Welcome to the Seraphine podcast. I'm Seraphine Arocha, and you are here for Fiending for More with episode 8, After the Rain of Bridgerton on Netflix.
Season finale.
I know, my God. We are talking all things about the episode. And just as a heads up, we are going to have an episode wrap up where we dive a little bit into the themes of the show. But today is purely episode 8 and how it all is wrapped up in a neat little bow. They do it quite well this episode. Joining me today is Elina Katzman. Hello.
Hi.
You may recognize her from her online boutique, the Clothes Rak. She is a dear friend and a contributor to my fashion. If you see anything that's on my Instagram, it's something on my body's usually Clothes Rak. Thank you so much for outfitting us. And we also have Chelsey and Giovanna per usual.
Hi.
Guys.
I love it. I can't do Bridgerton without you two. So as we jump in, guys, to this episode, we kind of start out with a little bit of awkwardness because we ended in awfulness. We ended with Marina possibly dead, and we also ended with this perfect couple of Daphne and Simon, and it kind of being torn away, and then making an agreement basically of just kind of living together.
Yeah.
But this comes off of Daphne getting her period, miscarriage. We don't know specifically, but it's pretty traumatic for the couple.
Yeah.
And we peel back a lot of layers. So let's start out, Giovanna. What was your thoughts when this episode begins? Because they're sitting next to each other for the painting, and we're coming off of this, her in her mother's arms crying. What was going through your mind, and where did you feel it going?
So at the very end of episode 7, I told you guys I actually took it as she had a miscarriage, and it was a super traumatic experience for her, and that's why she was so upset, because not only did she possibly lose her baby or the opportunity of having a child, she thought now she was going to be losing her marriage. So everything was crumbling in that moment for her. So going into episode 8, and it starts off with Granville painting them, right? And they're so distant, and it's like that awkward moment where they're like, okay, well, this is the end of us, so like, why are we really having him paint us? You know,
Yeah.
they feel apart. And they showed that by being so far away physically. And then when Granville is like, okay, this isn't working, can you guys please like touch her, like get a little close, show that
a
you
little
love.
emotion. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
on the outside, everyone still thinks they're this perfect couple. No one knows what's going on internally, as they shouldn't. I mean,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But so as, and I don't know if this is what you're asking, but like
no, I'm all about, you know what it is it's framing up through the eyes, like all of our eyes of like this couple that we so are invested in.
Yeah. And then like, I think when Simon finally, he's like, touch her, embrace her. And as he puts his hand on her shoulder, they have this moment where it's kind of like just that simple touch that they've been so distant from each other, not giving
They
each
were
other a
longing for
moment.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just a simple touch of her bare shoulder. And it was like, poof. And even the artist was like, perfect depiction of, what did he say?
Devotion.
Of devotion,
Yeah.
yes, of devotion. And it just kind of like, I think, framed up the whole episode of the rekindle for
Yeah.
the two of them.
Yeah. And the
Totally.
desire, I think, also of where they first started out, but also kind of peeling back layers, because we take it a step further, because now Simon, he becomes aware of this quote unquote, is it a miscarriage? What is it?
Yeah.
And then the flood of trauma
Right.
comes back, I'm sure, of the fact that his mother died giving birth to him.
Right.
And then all of the emasculating feelings that his father put on him of he wasn't good enough is now in his face with his wife in his marriage, that
Yeah.
it's not good enough. He's ashamed that he's put this woman in this position. Where do you think, Elina, where do you think that they dig themselves out of the hole? I do you think it's more Daphne who helps them get out of this hole, or do you, because I felt, I mean, to be honest with you, I was kind of like, how are they going to get out of this? But she ends up looking for that deed, right?
Yes, she ends up looking for some answers, and ends up finding so much more than she bargained for, I think.
Yeah.
And I think just realizing all of his trauma, I honestly felt like it was like almost like a weight has been lifted off her shoulders, like her seeing that maybe he's not like how he portrays to be, like this hardcore, manly man.
Yeah.
He is like this vulnerable little boy is still inside that body who just wants to be loved.
He built
Yeah.
up all that armor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I think it's almost a relief when we I think as women also do a lot of filling in the blanks for men.
Yes.
Unless you're with someone like an Aaron, my producer. Hi, Aaron. Who when you think about men who communicate their vulnerability versus men who believe that they need to have this armor. And, we listen to a lot of podcasts here, and Brene Brown is someone who I love, and she was talking to a group of generals, and the men underneath them, like the top ranking people of the army, and talking about the people underneath them. And she asked the group, to be brave, do you have to be vulnerable? And literally they were like, the aha moment came. Yeah. And I feel like this is the aha moment with him, of Simon, of realizing this tough exterior is it's not aligning with true connection and true love. So
Daphne even says that too.
she does.
She says something to the extent of, you're letting, his trauma, which is basically his dad, and what his dad put him through, you're allowing that to get in the way of a true
dead man.
love.
Yes.
Yeah, a dead man
Yeah.
in the way of true love and happiness with us.
Of your future.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times we get so fixated on the trauma of our past.
Right. Yes.
And it's, how do we move forward? But we're still replaying that story of mom and dad and the marriage, and
I
it's
think
replaying in the marriage.
He made that his excuse for so long
Yeah.
to not be in a physical relationship, or emotional relationship, that he just thought that it was going to be okay for him to just swing through life with this excuse on his back that this is how I am. You take it or leave it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And her saying, I'm not going to leave it because I love you the way you are. I love all the faults, all the trauma. I take you as you are, and you just need to let me.
Yes. And live in your truth, right?
Right.
Like we talked about, the last one is live in your truth. So as we take a sigh for a moment with them, because that's a lot of their stuff. I can too, because there's so many things to relate to. I know, right?
That's a whole other episode.
Lord.
Oh, so the other beautiful moment in here is Marina does not die. She does not commit suicide with the T, and we are with her, and we don't know what's going to happen until it's announced that the father of her child's brother has come to visit, and he is going to deliver a letter, and it turns out that he's dead. So Chelsey, talk to us a little bit about what unfolds with Marina, and then the beautiful gesture of the brother.
Yeah, so Marina spent this whole time, at first thinking that her love didn't want her or the baby because of the false letter written by Lady Featherington and the maid, and she kind of let that go because she felt betrayed. And then hearing that he actually died, and that he wrote her a letter, I cannot imagine the feeling of, oh my gosh, this is the person I love so much, and he actually did want me. He actually did want this baby, and to have him die like that is so heartbreaking. So the brother bringing this news was ended up being a really beautiful thing because he found out that she's pregnant and sees that this woman has no other choice. Like she needs that he has to fix this for his brother, for her, and he decides that they have to get married. Like they're going to get married. And I thought that was really a beautiful gesture, and I am foreshadowing that they're gonna fall in love together. But
I'm
that's not
really
this episode.
hoping.
Me too.
Really hoping because this storyline is so heartbreaking because it really is the depiction of when we deny our true self.
Yeah.
And we get caught up in the stories people tell us, and we don't know the real facts. And she's unfortunately in a position to where it's 18th century, so she's got a little difficulty.
Yeah.
But in the next breath, I think it is again a nice metaphor to talk about, and what we've been talking about is when we get lost in other people's telling of our story,
Right.
and we're like, wait a second, I lost my true self.
Yeah.
And this beautiful reminder of her gut instinct all along was he loved her. They had
Yeah.
a baby in love. It just happened at a time where when you weren't married, it wasn't looked
Right.
upon well.
And I feel like I truly believe this in life, that everything happens for a reason. And there's a reason why she didn't marry Colin.
Yes.
Even though he was such a sweetheart, like he has his own life and his own story to live, and he's going to do that. But I'm hopeful for Sir, I can't remember his name.
Me neither, but I'm so
the brother,
Yes.
such a sweetheart.
It's going to be, I'm excited to see what unfolds with that and Colin.
Yes.
I root for Colin as well. So then the other framing of this big story of Bridgerton, and we touch on them and we villainize this poor family, the Featheringtons. I think they are a victim of circumstance and keeping up with the Joneses. Yeah. They are the cautionary tale of keep yourself in check in with your family, and don't be true to yourself. Even from the ladies' fashions to trying to buy the latest dress but looking kind of tacky because they're just trying to look better than the other person, to the fact that her own husband is in debt, has been in debt. They're always at a deficit.
Yeah.
And then her daughters are constantly in this kind of like nasty gossip, except Penelope, who's kind of this person who's like, but I don't agree.
She's still not living her truth though either, because she loves Colin.
She loves Colin, and she doesn't look a certain way. And her mother tells her that she looks a certain way. So they make this final attempt because their name has been dragged through the mud because of Marina. And everybody's like, you took this woman in, and, now she's this, woman with a child, and you've lied about this or that. You've made Bridgertons look bad with Colin. So then the last ditch, like Hail Mary, is Lord Featherington trying to get them out of debt, and he goes in and he rigs a fight with a really other beautiful character on the show is Will, and we don't talk too much about Will, but it's a boxing match. And he does the very thing that Will has prided himself on, is he's got this family, he has his honor, he tries to get Simon to, duke it out honorably. And what does he do is he gives him an offer he can't refuse. And he says, if you throw the match, you'll be set for life.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Featheringtons? Anyone want to throw anything out there with them? They break my heart.
I just feel bad. I mean, honestly, I just feel bad, and it just kind of just shows, like, you have to just kind of, like, not, they're just, like, the true epitome of, like, not living outside your means, trying to keep up with what you may think perfection and reality is. And I think they just
and they
really
never see what's in front of them,
right? Like, I think they have so much going for them. She has beautiful, 3 daughters. Her husband. Like, work on that. Like, work on your situation instead of trying to show off.
Yes,
things that you don't have.
100% ground your family.
Yeah,
and don't do it half-assed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because then it all goes awry. Because he tries to. I don't even know. He fixes the wheel with a square wheel by going into this boxing match with his debt collectors, and the debt collectors are like gangsters, and they find out about it, and what do they do?
And I also feel bad for Will, like for him to
I
be
was
like
just about to
put
say
in that
that.
situation where he does take his like dignity like away from him.
100%.
That, and like also we see what happens to Mr. Lord Featherington. So leave Will. Like I'm just like
I
I'm
know.
scared for Will.
I am too. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen in the second season, and he's been a source for Simon.
Yes.
He's probably been one of the best friends to Simon.
Yeah.
So
And-
good to Simon.
I think. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's like that whole situation is just a really good example of don't bullshit. Like be an
Yeah.
honest
Yes.
person, and better things are gonna come with honesty.
Right.
Exactly.
100%. No matter how
You can only get
painful.
so far with
You
bullshit.
can go, yes,
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, it really is. Again, this show just cracks me up how it's like it can be just watched as days of our lives.
Yeah.
Or you can really start to reflect and think, and that's why Shonda Rhimes, the creator of it, is such an incredible
She's brilliant.
show creator. So then we kind of wrap this up in an interesting way because it does pretty quickly. And I think it's because Bridgerton didn't know at the time they were filming if they got a second season, but they do. But they put a bow on it pretty quickly. Anthony, who's been the older brother, decides that he is now going to look for a wife, and everyone in the Bridgerton family, Colin is going off to go and, see the world. And we're seeing all of these people. Everything's in bows except for the Featheringtons. There's like, there's not a lot of good stuff going on there. But we have this moment where we're back with Daphne and Simon, and she says to him, a person does not have to be perfect to be worthy of love. And then
I got goosebumps.
I think she got good clarification of that after speaking with her mom at the ball, though. Like, I
Yes.
think that was like
Yes.
the most impactful conversation she and her mom had the whole time.
Yeah.
And her mom basically said, like, marriage is going to have its trials. And, she says, don't give up so soon. So
Yeah.
where you were going
I
with
wrote that. Like, just because something isn't perfect doesn't mean it's any less worthy.
Yeah.
Like,
well, no one's going to be perfect. What is
Right.
perfect?
right.
and marriage, I
It's
think we
hard
can
work. Like,
attest
you
it's a
have
choice.
yes, you have to choose to be with that person, whether, through good and the bad, and you just have to, I mean,
It is. It's not easy, and I think the beauty of this show was they really show them choosing each other. I think that unfortunately, they wrap it up super quickly because they make love, and then all of a sudden she's having a baby, which is wonderful. But I'm glad there's a season 2 because marriage ain't no picnic. And I think with this show, there's so much more than just a love story. It's about
Yeah.
life. So when you're watching even TV, you're listening to songs, listen to the lyrics, find the why of why you're watching it. I know a lot of us watch a lot of mindless TV. A lot of times we're kind of on our phone or whatever, but this show, it got my attention.
Yeah.
Not only did it get my attention, it helped me escape a little from my life, but it also gave me tools to reflect on my life.
Totally.
it has a lot of good nuggets that kind of really teach you
Yeah.
things and like makes you look at things in a very different perspective.
Except for I don't like the final nugget. I can't lie. Like, I don't like that she got everything she wanted in one little episode.
True.
I don't
know.
like that.
Uh,
It was not a good depiction of life.
It was
I
tough.
know.
It was tough. The thing that we are still hanging in the balance, and that's why I think that they ended it, because who knows if it was going to be season 1 or season 2, is we finally figure out Whistledown is not Madame Delacroix or whoever else we were thinking it was, but it's Penelope.
I knew that. We can go back in a few episodes. I said it along when I was watching this. I don't know if it was her body language or just everything. I was like,
Yeah.
girl, she's whistling
Well,
down.
we knew
knows all
she
the
had like a deeper story because she's all about everyone else.
Yes.
Like she like anytime she's in a scene, it's about Eloise or it's about Marina or it's about Cohen. Like it's never about her. We don't know enough about her, and she's the only one that's like a main character.
She's hiding stuff.
She is.
It's also a big, again, reflecting point on who are the people in your life that are your listeners. And are you as good a listener to them as they are to you?
Exactly.
Because they have what we've been talking about, their own storyline.
Right.
And do you care? Because they're pretty invested in you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I'm going to be interested though, since, okay, so we talked about how they thought that they probably weren't going to get a second season, or they didn't know for sure. So I think that's why they revealed that in the final episode. But they've got to do something in season 2 to like shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, because
in
it's too perfect.
Gossip Girl, the one that it's kind of like a little bit like, they don't reveal till the last season, like that 9 season.
Well, as we end this episode, I have to say thank you for watching our podcast. Please like and subscribe. We're going to continue on with Bridgerton. We're going to have a full round up of the whole season. And when season 2 comes out, hopefully the Seraphine podcast will still be going, and my old lady self will sit back on the chair to review it. Please click like, subscribe. Thank you, Chelsey, Giovanna, Elina. I love you guys. And again, just a throw to Clothes Rak. Where can they find you online?
So at Clothes Rak on Instagram, with Rak spelled R-A-K, and then clothesrak.com.
Please check it out. And again,
Stuff's
thank you
great.
for your time. We love you guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.